How is it going, everyone? Hope your day is going great. I welcome you to another episode of Forward Thinking Founders. Before we get into today's episode, I had a quick question for you. If you're listening, have you ever been an investor anywhere? Have you ever put money into an entity and with an expectation of a return? Some of you, not all of you. Well, now is your chance. You can be an angel investor in Forward Thinking Founders, the podcast. And no, you don't got to be an accredited investor. All you need is $10 a month or $100 a year. Now, what does this get you? What's your ROI? Well, it gets you a ton. First of all, you don't have to listen to me pitch you this every single episode, so you bypass all ads and all future sponsorships. You get premium content as you get the full episode of every single episode that comes out, as many of them are kind of blocked halfway through. You get access to our online community where you get to see access to the episodes sometimes days before or weeks before they hit the internet. And lastly, you get access to our in-person meetups, which we are having the first one in San Francisco in late January. So if all of that sounds groovy, and you want to help out a fellow creator, which is me, and help me kind of invest into this podcast to make it better, then please become an angel investor in Forward Thinking Founders. How do you do it? You can find our terms and our sheet and all of our documentation at glow.fm/F20R. That's glow.fm/F20R. It is best done on mobile, and I look forward to having you as a supporter. Now let's get into today's episode. Run it! All right, how is it going, everyone? Welcome to another episode of Forward Thinking Founders, where we're talking to founders about their companies, their visions for the future, and how the two collide. Today, I'm very excited to be talking to Andy Bilinsky, who is the creator of Lensabl. Andy, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, Matt.
I'm happy to have you on. Excited to learn more about what you're working on, and I'm sure everyone listening is also excited. And with that, let's kind of dive into it. Can you tell us a little bit about Lensabl?
Yeah, absolutely. So Lensabl is kind of a unique company in the vision care space online. We launched early part of 2017, kind of stemming from a previous eyewear business that my co-founder and I had, where we sold frames with prescription lenses direct to consumer, but really decided to launch Lensabl as a kind of new solution for pain points we found in purchasing prescription lenses just in general. The prescription lens is a standalone product. So most people think about it, it goes into a frame, of course. So with the emergence of Warby Parker and a lot of the D2C frame companies, people kind of think of them as one and the same, but really the prescription lens has its own supply chain, its own set of features and pricing and things of that nature. And, we saw an opportunity to offer a new solution where customers who had frames that they loved, regardless of what brand, or purchased new frames, needed a solution to affordably and in many cases more conveniently get the prescription lenses they needed into those frames. And so Lensabl at its core is an online lens replacement service, primarily replacing lenses in existing frames, new or old, vintage or oddly shaped. We replace lenses, primarily in Oakleys and Ray-Bans and Warby Parkers and really lots of well-known brands, but even frames from brands that are not well-known to things like over-the-counter readers. And we can put really any prescription in those frames to the extent that they are prescriptable. We offer really the widest variety of prescription lens options online or really even offline. So everything from clear lenses to blue light blocking, tinted lenses in a whole bunch of different colors and shades and gradients to the extent you want to customize the aesthetic look of your lenses. We even offer those really cool transitions, which are dark outdoors and then become lighter indoors. And we can handle prescriptions of any strength. So even the lightest prescriptions all the way to, some prescriptions that make it really, really even difficult to see. So we can kind of handle everything. Way that our process works is we have a pretty easy to understand set of options on the website. You kind of go through configuring your lenses. You have a option to upload a copy of your prescription. So we still do require a prescription to be submitted in order to make your lenses properly. We then will either send the customers a box or they can request to print a shipping label that we email. So shipping is always included. And we require you to have to send your frames into our lab. So we have a lab facility, an optical lab that actually makes the lenses, installs them for you, based here in Los Angeles. So all of our lens work is done here in the States, which is great, and a little bit different than some of the frame and lens companies that you might come into contact with. And then really the process from there is simple. Once the frames arrive at the lab, we make the lenses based on the prescription specs that you've submitted. Within a few days, the lenses are completed. They are installed into the frames, and then we will send you back directly to your home a package with your frames, with the new lenses, your original lenses sent back, and a really cool cleaning kit and a case. And really the experience is one that you kind of feel like you got a new pair of frames. Our lenses are super high quality. We work with Essilor, which is the largest lens manufacturing business in the world. So it's a really premium set of lenses that includes all the coatings and additional features that traditional retailers usually upsell you on, and we include those for free. And so the idea is really that you are able to get a brand new set of lenses without having to leave home for a price that is upwards of 60+% less expensive than a traditional optometrist or retail store might charge you, if they were even willing to run that service for you, which most are not. So yeah, that's really the core business. It's evolved a little bit over the past few years, which I'd love to discuss, but core business, online lens replacement for any frames.
All right. Well, that's awesome. I have never worn glasses before myself, so I'm curious to learn about what have people like this. This seems like an awesome product and something that fills a need. I'm curious, before this existed, did people need to get brand new glasses every time they had something wrong with one of their lenses or one of their frames, or what did people do before this?
It's a great question. And so just a little bit of detail maybe on kind of how vision correction works for most individuals. You are recommended to get a health check of your eyes on an annual basis. That does not necessarily mean that your prescription will change on an annual basis, but depending on your age, average prescription change for someone with corrected vision is usually between 12 and 24 months. The kind of healthier your eyes are, the less frequently it changes, the maybe older you get, or the more access to blue light and things like that do kind of expedite eye deterioration, require, an update in prescription every year or so. So previously, when your prescription would change, or you would scratch or crack a lens, or you'd buy a new frame from, let's call it a department store, or online, like off Amazon or eBay, or even at a little boutique in a different country or something of that nature, you really would have very limited options. Lens replacement, while there is nothing hindering an existing optometrist or retail store to replace lenses in an existing frame, they are usually a little bit kind of shy of doing that for a few reasons, which makes sense. And that's, when they're using your product that you've purchased elsewhere, it might be brittle, right? It might be a little vintage or old and have risk of breakage when it goes through the lens replacement process, because the frame actually gets placed through a variety of different machines and things of that nature. And so there is risk on the doctor or the retail store's part of accepting that frame. So they really don't like to do it. The Costco's of the world, the Target Opticals of the world often have policies either fully against doing it or charging you a large fee, or a release of liability, that type of thing. So while there are options for you to have brought your frame to a optician or optometrist, they might end up accepting a lens replacement order, but they would never market it. They really do their best to kind of upsell you into a new frame, because again, they make more money that way. It relieves them of risk on your existing frame breaking or getting damaged. And so the long answer to your short question was, really individual customers didn't have a great solution for this. It's not a business or a market that really existed before, although the desire for this kind of purchase behavior did exist. And that was really what we garnered and started to understand from customers in our previous frame business, right, where we would sell prescription as an add-on service on top of the frames that we were selling them. And once they got the lenses back from us, they were, wildly happily surprised, and, would then reach out and say, well, I actually have a Ray-Ban frame or Warby Parker frame or a vintage frame I bought at a garage sale. Like, can I send them to you for lenses? And while initially we kind of, said no to those requests because we were trying to build a frame brand, the requests kind of just kept coming, and it seemed like there was something there. And the output of, that experience and us kind of doing further research in the industry really led itself to Lensabl, and kind of building a standalone, singularly focused on lens only business that could be a supplement to every frame brand, regardless, of what the frame was. So that's really kind of how it worked before.
Yeah, that's an interesting insight into what happens when industries get kind of not passive, but kind of ripe for disruption. Then you have something like you come in and build something that pleases all of the everyone on the market. So that's awesome. I'd love to hear a little bit on what is the biggest reason why you wanted to start this, unless the answer is as simple as there was a big problem and you wanted to solve it. But what was the inspiration behind it? And then I'd love to hear, you already lightly mentioned you have some plans moving forward. Like, what direction are you headed in with this, and kind of what's the grand vision?
Yeah, absolutely. I would say kind of why we got into this. I mean, at heart and my experience, I'm a serial entrepreneur. So, starting new businesses, disruptive businesses, based off of, what I deem existing needs, or my partners and I have deemed existing needs, and spaces that are, have a large TAM, right, and affect a lot of people. And vision is an incredibly important, piece of about 250 million Americans' lives. And so making access to greater vision accessible, affordable, convenient, et cetera, was definitely a goal of ours. I think primarily how we kind of came up with this idea was what I just described before, and what we noticed from our previous eyewear brand, and kind of customers, pain points that they were communicating to us. I've always been of the nature where, individually we can all have great ideas, but they may be great to us and may not necessarily have utilization to a large enough audience that is worth kind of spending time building a large business around. But when you can actually gain market research and speak to consumers and really understand what pain points do exist, I think it allows you to have a much better foundation of building a new business, than kind of throwing darts at a dartboard, in the alternative example. And so, it was really a kind of a disruptive opportunity that did not exist, based off of communication from individual customers in a previous business. And I would say both my co-founder and I were at a point in our careers where we really were looking at a opportunity that we thought could be significant, that affected not only a huge number of Americans, but a huge number of people worldwide, and could be kind of a global business. And so really all of those factors came together and led us to start Lensabl. And really just kind of building off of that, as you asked about kind of where our plans are. So
yeah.
The core of the business today is lens replacement. If you come to Lensabl.com, that is our core product. We actually have moved into some additional categories, but really and I'll describe them, but really from day one, while lens replacement was something that nobody else was doing, and definitely an opportunity we saw, in our ability to make a statement in, there are other products in vision care that are, purchased by those same consumers. So the same consumers that purchase lenses, of course, also purchase frames, right? Because it's a requirement to how to put lenses in, right? It's got to be in a frame. And then those are also, in many cases, contact lens wearers. And so both of those categories were already things we had been thinking about. We obviously came from the frame world, but knowing that, replacing lenses in frames is not a recurring purchase, right? It's not a purchase that customers are going to make necessarily even twice a year, let alone 3 or 4 or 5 times. And, that is not necessarily an easy category to go into in a direct-to-consumer business, because a lot of what you're able to build a business off of is long lifetime value and large margin off of, what might be infrequent purchases. And so in order to really extract more value out of customers, but at the same time providing convenience and value to customers, we always had the idea of getting into other categories. And so the first of those other categories was frames. And so about 2 months ago, we launched a Lensabl frame brand, which is, really cool, high-end, I would say Warby Parker-esque aesthetic looking frames with prescription lenses for a really affordable bundled price. So our prices start at $77. They include blue light protection for free, high quality polycarbonate lenses with anti-reflective coating. I mean, really all the bells and whistles that you'd get in a Warby Parker product for a price that's about 30% less expensive, with our lens selecting tool, which has far more lens options than a Warby or some of the competitors tied in. And so customers now can purchase really high quality frames from us for a really affordable price. And for one, that is nice when customers are looking for new frames, but secondarily, and one of the biggest pain points we had was customers who had a frame that they wanted to send in for lens replacement wouldn't always have a backup. And of course, you can't be without your frames if you send them in. And so we previously didn't really have a way to support those customers. And so now, because we do offer frames, we can actually work with those customers to have them, purchase an affordable frame that we can make and send to them within a few business days, so that they can have a backup while they send in their, existing frame to us. So it's really been a nice tie-in to our platform and kind of giving us, more value, more share of mind in customers' minds of, things that they can do with us. And then, so that is live now. Lensabl.com homepage, you can click to see our frame line. It's called Everyday Eyewear. We offer a sunglass line. We have something called a night glasses line, which have lenses in them that are lightly orange tinted, that are actually used to kind of block blue light that is coming into your eyes late at night from TVs and phone screens, etc., which usually hinder your ability to fall into a deeper sleep. And so these night lenses are recommended to essentially expedite and kind of speed up the melatonin secretion in your brain, which will allow you to then fall asleep faster and deeper. So definitely check out our new frame line. Lots of cool options there. So early part of next year, we will be launching a contact lens business, very similar to what you might see on a 1-800 Contacts or some of the other multi-brand contact lens retailers online. And this is just our way of being able to support our existing customers and, of course, new customers, and kind of becoming a one-stop shop for all things vision care product. We know that while that is kind of what an optometrist, is there to offer you, right? And they have much more value, right? Comprehensive health checks, things of that nature. And we always recommend customers go to, a doctor at least once a year to get their eyes checked. But we want to be a solution for affordability and for convenience in your life. And, the idea of having to buy frames at Warby Parker and contacts at 1-800 Contacts and replace lenses at Lensabl is doable. And for modern shoppers, they're used to purchasing products online from lots of different vendors. But we really saw the ability to kind of consolidate the three and centralize our platform, which existing customers really, really love and trust us to offer really high quality products, to not only be their lens supplier, but to be their frame supplier and to be their contact lens supplier. And by purchasing all of those products from us, be able to offer it to customers at a far greater value than you're getting elsewhere, or as you get when you purchase from, individual vendors. So kind of looking forward to the early part of next year, think of Lensabl as a one-stop shop for all things vision care products online, super affordable, super high quality. And that's kind of where things are going.
Yeah, for sure. You definitely have a well thought out plan, which is awesome. I'd love to learn a little bit, as you've been building Lensabl, what's been one of the biggest things that you've learned along the way that you maybe didn't expect to learn?
Yeah, well, for one, direct-to-consumer businesses are not easy. Not that we expected it to be easy, but when you are dealing with customers and specifically dealing with vision, which is such an important thing for individuals who have vision correction. I think, there's an idea of building a really great company and a great brand, but, the actual operation of it, it's a 24-hour, 7-day-a-week operation. And I would say, customer service is key and core. You need to be essentially on at all times. And not only that, but I'd say the next thing that we learned is that it really is not about, my vision or my co-founder's vision. It's really about the team that we've assembled and the buy-in that they've had to support, this vision that we've created, and to be excited about it every day and to serve our customers in the best way possible. Because it really does require a cohesive vision and buy-in, and that is something that I think until you actually get into your business is really hard to project out and hard to know. And really the individuals, the team members that bring on board to work with you on a day-to-day basis are incredibly important. And so I think it's just being a first-time, truly kind of a first-time venture-backed founder. I would say that core team is really the number one most important piece. I would say the caveat to that is going through kind of a venture fundraising process. There's really no basis for that, no kind of schooling that you can take to learn, to learn about it, sure, but to actually experience it. And business costs money. It's while you wish that on day one your business could be profitable, there oftentimes that is not going to be doable, and it is important that you have capital to be able to continue to build your company and invest in areas that might not see immediate result but are for longer term good. And so I think kind of just both of those things and understanding the importance of both is important.
Definitely. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I think the team point is something that I think everyone thinks they know. They think they know it until they're in the thick of it, and then they realize they should have hired that person and they didn't, or they shouldn't have hired that person and they did. And it's just kind of, just people props. Well, cool. Well, I would love to go a little bit away from what you're working on and just dive a little deeper into just your brain and what you spend your time thinking about as a founder when you're not working on your company. So are there any problems or technologies or startups out there in the world that just interest you, that you might spend a little time thinking about, that pique your interest, that you'd be open to sharing?
Yeah, I would say, this may be relevant to founders and maybe not so exciting to hear for non-founders who are kind of listening in. But I would say, my brain unfortunately has very little time to think about much outside of the business, as we are in kind of a hyper growth mode. And, it does take a ton of mental capacity and time. And so even when not in the office and not working, I'm definitely thinking about things related to our business. I would say to that end, though, the incredibly important aspect of my life is keeping, kind of mental sanity and kind of staying grounded and being able to disconnect from time to time. So, I think there's, wellness as a industry, and it can mean a ton of things, is incredibly interesting to me. A lot of app-based or kind of mobile related wellness coaching and wellness guidance and things like that is where I'm finding I spend a lot of my off work time, if you will. And so I'm a big Headspace user, and so meditation has become an incredibly important part. Just even the 15 or 20 minutes every other day that I spend kind of doing guided meditation through the Headspace app. I've also used the Breeze and the Calm app. So there's definitely a few out there that are really interesting to me. But, I think that and kind of the ability to now kind of have guided workouts and fitness training. So things like Mirror and Tonal become really important to me as I would say the mental and physical kind of progress of or fitness, if you will, is what I'm kind of spending my time outside of the office thinking about and or participating in.
Got it. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And to kind of wrap it up a little bit, I have two final questions for you. The second to last question is one that I don't think I've ever actually asked before, but it just kind of popped into my head, so I'm going to ask it.
Sure.
What are some softwares or more so products that you use for your company or just for your life that you cannot live without? What are your go-to favorite products? It could be apps, they could be physical products, but kind of, yeah, what are your favorite products that you use on a day-to-day basis?
Yeah, I gotta say, this might be a generic one, but the Apple AirPods are my life. I don't even recall at this point how I lived without them. I mean, I guess there were headphones and ones with cords before, but I'm on the phone on calls all day long. I am mobile many, hours throughout the day, and the ability to be able to handle those, I don't think I take them out of my ears on for many hours a day. But then also when I do want to zone out and listen to music and kind of be able to be in my own zone in the office, they're incredibly helpful and important there too. So, that I would say is something that I'm pretty, from a product perspective, I think I couldn't possibly live without.
I have to ask, have you tried out the AirPods Pro or
I have
however they
not
pronounce it?
yet. I have
Okay.
been recommended. I hear great things. I haven't quite taken the dive yet to invest in, what seems to me like something that I already have. Although I do hear there are lots of benefits and features to it. So I surely will be doing that soon. I would say there is a second one that's coming to mind just as we talk.
Yeah.
And it's more of a software, less of a physical product. But in an e-commerce business, probably the number one thing to figure out is how, once customers interact with your site, where are they not finding success, where are they falling off, where are you hindering them from getting to the eventual goal, which is making a purchase. And there's actually a couple technologies that maybe record is the wrong term, but that give you insight into where customers are finding problems or falling off. And one that we use is a software called Full Story. I spelled just the way that it sounds, and you're able to essentially take snapshots of customer sessions on your site on different pages and be able to, kind of see if there were issues in the code base that are disabling them from moving forward, if there is a button that's not working, if there, is something that's being shown to them that, they just always click off of because they didn't like it, or it doesn't, it really gives you almost as good of insights as you possibly could get, other than speaking to each customer, over the phone, which obviously wouldn't be possible at this stage. But although we do still try to do that when we can. But yeah, Full Story. And there's a couple others that do some similar stuff. I can't recall the names, but yeah, definitely one that is kind of like, a go-to on a many times a day basis for us.
Got it. Yeah. Huh. So Full Story like it's similar to just an analytics tracking platform. I haven't used that before, but I actually have not thrilled with our current one. So I might take a look and see.
Yeah, absolutely.
I might convert.
It's a little bit more than just analytics tracking. If you are kind of thinking of Google Analytics to be an analytics tracking system, which again is also like a Bible to us, and we are looking at all day long on how many customers are on the site and where they are coming from.
Right.
But Full Story actually gives you a video recorded snapshot of an individual customer session. And so you can only see your site, you can only see that specific page that you're recording. But if a customer, will send a customer service inquiry, I clicked place order and nothing happened, right? You can, for example, then search that customer's session. You can actually watch their movements on the screen, right on that page from a few minutes before or an hour before or whatever it is. And then you can actually see when they go ahead and attempt to click the place order button, there's a set of developer tools that will identify what the issue in the JavaScript or the code base may have been. Yeah, so it's actually quite a bit more, full service, Full Story.
Gives you the full story.
Yeah, exactly. So I'd say that's definitely a cool one. Any e-commerce listeners out there that are looking for deeper insights into drop-off and conversion funnel optimization and things like that, highly recommended and relatively affordable.
Well, that's good. I will check it out after we hop off of the pod. And my last question for you is, you are building a company, you're serving a niche, you're solving a problem, and there are a lot of people that are listening that have a problem they want to solve. They want to build a product, but they don't actually know the best first step on how to get in there and get started. What advice would you have for these people who want to break in but don't necessarily know the first step of how to do that?
Yeah, absolutely. Super glad to always talk about our story, and happy to be of a resource for anybody out there listening, and is looking to get started, or has started something and is running into trouble. Always happy to kind of share our version of it.
Yeah, absolutely. If you want, I'd love to get the 1 minute long snapshot now, and then if someone's listening and they are intrigued to hear the whole story, they can reach out to you after. Are you cool with that?
Yeah, absolutely. So just on kind of how we got started, and how we're progressing, and
Just like the first, I think would be interesting would be like the first 30 days that you started this company. How did you just get it off the ground? Like your first customer, your first vendor, how'd you find them? Because I think for a lot of people, it just starts with one customer, right?
Yeah, and we have a very unique story, but a funny one. So we launched literally January 2nd of 2017. We had raised a little bit of friends and family capital before, but most of it was spent, and there really wasn't much of a marketing budget. We were able to find a friend who had previously worked in PR and was willing to utilize some of their contacts, or at least reach out on our behalf to see if there was any local news that was interested in talking about us. And unfortunately, at the very beginning stages, that becomes a little bit difficult, especially when you don't have any money to kind of throw towards it. But we actually were able to set up a conversation with a reporter that worked for ABC that did a tech news segment, and they were a local San Francisco ABC affiliate. It was termed to us that it was going to be a Skype call, and it was not live or anything like that on the air. And we were going to talk to them, and if they thought that what we were doing was interesting, they'd potentially think about a story. And really, we were spending a little bit of Facebook advertising, a little bit of Google, but we weren't really getting many people to the site at that point, and orders were not coming through the way that we had hoped. So things were looking a little dire, and we did this Skype interview. And really, 3 or 4 days after that, so about a week after we actually launched the site, one night we were getting notifications on our phones if a new customer signed up with their email, or that they actually made a purchase. And it was pretty, sparingly over the first 6 or 7 days, but out of nowhere, a week or so in, we just started getting notification after notification after notification, and we started to get excited, except we thought maybe it was fraud, or maybe there was something broken with the website that was, now we had gotten all these orders and it was just sending them through now. Basically, that Skype interview ended up getting published on the news, on, I think it was the ABC News at 6 p.m. tech segment in local San Francisco ABC affiliate, and that happened. So we were on TV. It quickly got picked up by the Jacksonville affiliate. It then got picked up by the South Dakota affiliate. And next thing you knew, overnight, we had done more business, than in one night than we did in the previous week. And that was really like kind of the kickoff to us now feeling like we had something, and a service that people did, or at least were interested in, and would click to the site on, and then actually convert. So I'd say, there's the traditional marketing avenues, like the traditional paid spend avenues, but I think it really becomes, can you get something unique if it's one individual customer who has a network, if it's an influencer that can tell people. It's really that domino effect. And ours was in the form of a TV segment that, is just incredibly fortunate. But fortunate to have had that, and kind of let it spiral into, some more recurring business that
100%.
enabled us to move forward.
All right, that's a great story. So if anyone wants to learn more about what you're working on, or become a customer, or learn more about you, where can they find you on the internet?
Absolutely. So our website is www.lensabl, lensabl.com. There is a promo code on the site for first-time customers. So if you're looking for new lenses, for existing frames, or you're looking for a new frame for a real affordable price, come check us out, and we'd love to have you as a customer and into the Lensabl world.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Andrew, for coming on to the podcast. I really appreciate it. I learned a lot about a market that I really didn't know anything about, and enjoyed the conversation. So thanks for coming on.
Absolutely. Really appreciate the time. Really appreciate the time. Really